Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on? What's going on? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. I got the notification this time. Good. Shout out to St. Louis in the building. Great Polo. Shout out to all the MGM members. Kelvin Birch, Maximize Trucking, Brandon Williams. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing this afternoon? All right, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to have a little discussion today. I got some bullet points that I want to talk about, and it's going to kind of be a continuation of yesterday, but I want to get a little bit deeper into discussion. Like I said, I got some bullet points that I want to break down, and I really want to analyze this thing. I want to analyze this thing with you guys. I want this to be engaging, and I also want it to be interactive. And let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon. I know we saw, like, I just left out of the Discord. I saw there's still a bunch of people in the Discord, in the voice room having a discussion with Caduce. I don't know if they're still in there because I'm over here, but Great Polo, if you can glance in there, somebody glance in there and let them know that we are live. All right. All right. So how's everybody doing? Yesterday we did a live stream and I kind of reacted to some content, right? And the content just further proved my point. All right. So today I want to talk about the cheap freight. And is it really cheap freight, or is it just poor business decisions? All right. Now, I still haven't found this definition, right? I haven't found this definition. All right. Because it doesn't exist. All right. And what I want to do today is we want to do a compare and contrast. We want to analyze this thing, and let's get into it. All right. So what I want to do first is I'm going to share my screen. All right. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Let's share the screen. All right. So I Googled, what is cheap freight? And like I said before in another live stream, I got forums, right, dating me back to the 2000s, right? Because back in the 2000s, there, late 90s, early 2000s, you didn't have live streaming, you didn't have social media to the extent that we have it today. We didn't have the the level of engagement that technology presents today back then. So forums were a big thing, right? A lot of truckers frequented the forums back in the day. So you had forums like the Truckers Report. And then you go into the Truckers Report, you have a bunch of truckers all trying to come up with their definition of what cheap freight is. You have people in there that are complaining about other people taking loads cheaper than what they can take loads for. You have people whose mindset align with my mindset. All right, because we're looking at things from a business perspective. We understand the landscape of the industry. We understand that the industry is competitive. We understand that the industry, the market fluctuates. We understand that we're supposed to do what's in the best interest for ourselves and our business. We understand that we need to put ourselves and our business in the best position as possible so that we can compete, so that we can win. So you have people from different walks of life with different mindsets, right? And this is what you would see in all the forums. Just people just rambling and ranting. But there's no definition, right? So as you scroll through the different forums and your Reddit posts and this, that, and third, I came up across something here on trucknews.com that aligns with everything that I talk about. And what I want to do is I want to read this and then I want to start hitting some bullet points, all right? So the first thing is basically what is cheap freight? I haven't found a definition, all right? Because there is no definition. There is no definition for this. But here, let's get into it. What exactly is the definition of cheap freight? I had an encounter with Mr. Super Trucker. Shout out to all the super truckers out there. Last week, I was running up from California and he came blasting by at around 5 miles per hour above the speed limit. An hour later, he came by again, and a couple hours later, there he was again, hammered down in the left lane. He was driving a classic truck with all the lights in chrome. Keep that in mind, all right? It was a sharp-looking truck for sure, but for one thing, a decal on the rear doors that read, "Say no to cheap freight." What's up with all these guys with all these fancy trucks that keep complaining about this cheap freight? Do y'all see the pattern? Do y'all see the pattern here? We had the guy yesterday, beautiful truck. We got this guy, nice truck, customized. It seems to be some type of trend here, but let's continue the story. A few hours later, I pulled off to get some coffee, and here he was again, taking on some fuel. I pulled into the parking lot, and he parked next to me. We got to talking, and I said I was going inside for coffee. He joined me, and we got to talking about the job again. I mentioned the decal on his trailer, and he went off on a rant for 5 minutes about how people were running around for peanuts and ruining the job. Follow me. I sat back listening for a while and then thought I'd have a little fun. So I asked him what he considered to be cheap freight. This is something that I keep asking people, and no one seems to know the answer. But here, let's continue. He stated that he took a load that paid under $2 per mile. He stated that he never took a load that paid under $2 a mile. I then asked what he did if he was in an area without freight that paid that much. He told me he would sit for a day or two, and then if nothing happened, he would deadhead to a load that did pay well enough. So I asked him how much per mile he was earning sitting for up to 2 days in a truck stop. I got a frown. Then I asked how much he got paid to deadhead. Again, the frown. After a moment, he started off again, this time about how people hauling cheap freight made it so that he had to sit for 2 days or deadhead hundreds of miles. I then explained that someone hauling the same lane he was deadheading for $1 a mile was earning more than him, and he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Before it turned nasty, I decided to go on a different approach. This time I asked him what his fuel mileage average was. He didn't know. I would say he was getting under 5 miles per gallon as he was doing an admitted 5 miles per hour over the limit everywhere, and we were out in Utah with a 75 to 80 mile per hour limit. On hearing this, he told me that it never mattered because of the fuel surcharge. So I asked him what figures the surcharge he was getting were based on. Again, he didn't know. Now, this continues to reiterate what I talk about people making choices and decisions, people making personal choices that affect their business, and people making poor and bad business decisions. And also what I always teach and talk about, people not knowing what their operational cost is. Listen, and this is why when I challenge these guys to debate that say this shit, they don't come up. They don't come up, bro. Find me where this definition of cheap freight is. Show me a super trucker that complains about and they keep taking cheap freight, and I will show you a person who makes poor choices and decisions when it comes to their personal life, their business, and who don't know what their operation costs. Every person that you point to me that says this shit, I guarantee you they don't know what it costs to operate their business. I keep proving this shit over and over and over and over. But let's continue. If you have a $300,000 custom truck and trailer and tear around 80 miles per hour between stopping at truck stops every couple of hours and want to sit around waiting for the right rate for days at a time, then $4 per mile is not enough to turn a profit. Yet an operator with an 8 mile per gallon truck that is bought and paid for can make decent money at $1.50. So which one is hauling cheap freight? In much the same way that you don't need to win every battle to win a war, you don't need to turn a huge profit on each load to make money. In extreme cases, you could even take a load that only just covers your costs, which you should know down to the last penny, because you should know your costs, which most people don't know, especially the people that say, hey, they out here taking cheap freight. Listen, which will take you to somewhere that you will get a good paying load. For example, you get a good paying load from Winnipeg to Halifax. Once there, you can find anything to take you back to Winnipeg. So you look at Montreal, even Toronto, and there's plenty of good rates coming out of both. Now you could deadhead to either one. Your fuel mileage would be excellent, so it would lower your cost, but it still costs you. So if you can find a load that just about covers the fuel and your daily fixed cost that gets you to either city, you're then back to the good rates, and it never costs you anything. You didn't make money on that leg, but the next load that you run out west will. So by the time you get back to base, you made a decent profit. Where's the cheap freight in that? We live in a very different world than we did in the good old days. I tell you guys this all the time. Technology and many other things have made most industries more efficient, yet some within our industry are still using business practices from back in the day. Remember there was somebody that said, man, all that old back, that shit done. Man, to earn a decent living today, we need to focus on our cost of operation. Listen, everywhere you turn, it's going to continue to reiterate everything that I teach on this channel. People that complain about the dumbest shit, this old cheap freight myth, are people that don't know what it costs to run their business, haven't educated themselves on something that they invested in, which is trucking, and went out and did shit that wasn't in the best interest of them and their business. They went out and bought all this expensive equipment. Listen, let me explain something to you. This guy yesterday, right? This guy right here. Remember this guy from yesterday? I sympathize, but I don't feel bad for this guy. You know why? Because he said the same fucking shit. Great Polo, I'm sorry. Cover your daughter's ears. Today is one of them conversations where we're going to have to use cuss words. Listen, I don't feel bad for this guy. You know why? Because he went out in this economy and bought a $200,000 truck. In this economy, he bought this truck within the past year and a half. He went out and spent $200,000 on a truck and got it customized, which I found out in the semi-truck world, you can finance all the customization. He had it dropped. He got his fucking Freightliner. I mean, his truck Peterbilt looking like a goddamn lowrider. He got all the inside custom. He got the flip out fucking Pioneer radio. You talking about over a $200-some thousand goddamn, maybe $300,000 for all we know with all the customization. truck that he bought in this current economy. He's complaining about fucking people taking cheap freight. So basically, you want people to sit on their hands so that you can afford this fucking $300,000 truck. That's how I look at it. People like him that make poor decisions for their business, they want to complain about people who make good financial business decisions, right? So that he can afford to have this fucking truck. Same thing with the person in this story, with all the chrome and all the bells and all the whistles. These are the people who make poor decisions. They want to look good coming up and down the road, but then when the tide turns and the economy shifts, or whatever the case may be, they want to complain about people who make good financial decisions so that they can be able to continue to afford this shit. Listen, it's not our responsibility to keep you in your nice, pretty truck. You show me a trucker, a super trucker, a super box trucker, a super content creator that complains about cheap freight. I'll show you a person who doesn't know their operational costs down to a T. I'll show you a person who doesn't understand what they invested in. I show you a person who makes poor business decisions. I'll show you a person who doesn't understand the landscape of this industry that's called trucking. I'm not finna sit on my hands so that you can continue to pay your fucking $250,000 truck note. That's your, listen, this is a personal problem. That's personal shit. That's personal, pimp. That's a personal problem right there. You went out and you made that decision. Deal with it. The guy who's riding down the road in the 06, the 07, the 08, the 09, the 2010, 11, the 02, the 90-something truck that's been paid for, like I always say, that don't have the overhead that said individual has, and so many individuals that come into this business that complain about other people. Why do these guys got to sit around because you went out and spent $300,000? Yeah, you can't take the shit that they take. So really, it's not even cheap for you. It's expensive because if you take what they can take, it's going to cost you money. So how is it cheap? How is something that's going to cost you money cheap? It's expensive, right? Because it's costly. You can't get mad at them because they're out competing you. They're beating you. That's your fault. Find me this definition. I haven't found it nowhere because it doesn't exist. All right, next. Factors contributing to current rates or just rates in general. Market conditions, right? Overcapacity, competition. Shit that we talk about all the time. Competition. I don't give a fuck about your $250,000 truck. That's your problem. My truck paid for. I don't got the overhead. I'm not sitting on my hands because you went out and did that shit. Fuck you. That's your problem. Learn how to compete. Don't go out and do dumb shit like spend $250,000 in this economy. I'm sorry, but I mean, this is the truth. This is business. It's a market, especially you guys just running over the road. You are competing. You're competing. What's going to give you the most leverage? What's going to give you the most leverage? Having the lowest cost as possible. having the lowest cost as possible. Somebody talked about the good old boys. I used to always talk about the good old boys. Y'all didn't like it. The good old boys with them old Pete's. Man, them trucks, I'm telling you, them trucks been paid for 30 years ago. They just going to keep rebuilding them. They ain't got nothing but money anyway, because them, they old lady and they dog live in the truck. See, no, because you from the A. You from the A, right? I get it. You from the A, so you want to make sure when you get back home, you want to turn up. You want to take your trucking money and turn up. You want the nice, newer truck. I get it. But them good old boys, they ain't got the mindset like you. They happy in their truck. They happy living in their truck. They got their old lady and they dog, and they all one big happy family coming up the road. This your competition. They don't got the cost that you got. You got the condo in Buckhead that you're never there. This is a poor decision you made, young man. Now you robbing from the sustainability of the business because, when get it out the mud truck and come home, you got to pop up in the Blue Flame and order the bottle so the bottle girls can bring the sign coming through the club, get it out the mud trucking. All your broke homies is there. You telling them, don't worry about it. I got it. But this is all contributing to why you losing and why they winning. See, your favorite super trucker content creator or your favorite box truck content, they didn't teach you all this. But when I was telling you this, since day one of me coming on YouTube, you didn't want to hear it. But now you want to listen to it because, man, Mark been telling me this shit for 2 years. Ain't nobody going to have sympathy for you. You got to make better decisions. If it's something there, if it's a load there and it's got to be me or you, I'm going to make sure it's me. I'm going to put myself in the best position to make sure that I win majority of the time. Why? Because I know it's the nature of the industry. This is why they deregulated trucking. People say, oh, they don't got nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with it. More competition equals lower prices. If things would have continued to stay the way they were, you wouldn't even be in trucking. You wouldn't afford to be in trucking because you wouldn't have the money to buy a route. You wouldn't have the money to buy a route. It's better for more people to keep rates down, right? Because if things went the way that they were prior to 1980, then the cost of goods would be inflated. Bringing in more competition keeps rates down, and then those savings get passed along to the consumer. This is why this happened 44 years ago. To help cut down on the inflation of the supply chain, because imagine how much goods would be at Walmart if it didn't. You have to keep this in your back pocket, in the back of your mind at all times, that you're constantly competing. It never stops in this industry, especially you guys that are running OTR. Now, there is overcapacity. Why? Well, good old pandemic, right? Now, there was a reason for it. There was an overabundance of volume due to all the money that went out. So we needed more capacity to come in to meet the volume, right? This is why the rates were up. But it was not going to stay this way forever. There's still an lingering overcapacity. That I don't think is ever going to go anywhere. There's still people entering into the space. The people that have failed, majority have failed. There's still people failing, but there's still people entering. People come to me all the time in my DM, my email, my Facebook Messenger. On here, hey, Mark, I just got a box truck. Hey, Mark, I just got a truck. Hey, Mark, I just got this. I just got that. People are still entering. We're in a day and age where people don't want to work traditional jobs. Everybody has this boss mentality. Everybody wants to work for themselves. And trucking just happens to be one of those industries that there's a low barrier to entry to get in, to be your own boss, right? So that level of overcapacity that everybody's so waiting so patiently to die off, man, that shit ain't going to go back to where it was prior to 2020. So this is something that you're going to have to continue to deal with. You're going to have to continue to deal with competition. You're going to have to continue to deal with overcapacity, especially in this economic climate. The worse the economy gets, the less consumer spending, less volume. So you have an overcapacity of people competing even harder. So if I'm used to running on 50-cent amount profit margin, I may go down to 40 cent. I may go down to 30-cent profit margin. Still profit. While you sitting in your brand new box truck or your brand new semi truck that you spending an arm and leg for, and even what I was profiting at 50 cent, and I'm just using these numbers as examples, you couldn't take that. So me coming down on the 30-cent profit margin, you definitely can't take that. And I'm just using these numbers for example. So the worse off things get from an economical standpoint, the tougher the competition gets. The less freight available, you're going to start seeing them teeth. You already see them teeth. Now you're starting to see them sharp teeth come out. They're starting to get longer and longer and longer. Listen, I got people, subscribers that got 4, 5, 6 kids. You think they gonna, if they profiting, you think they gonna sit on their hands because you went out and bought you a 2023 Hino or 2023 Freightliner or 2024 because you wanted a brand new truck because your favorite content creator told you to go do so? And now you got to pay this note and you got to pay insurance on a brand new truck? So one of my subscribers who got a 2001 International, whose cost is nowhere near yours, he's supposed to sit on his hands because you went out and you did the dump to dump. Nah, Charlie, that's just not the way the game is played. You point me in direction of a super trucker or a super box trucker that complains about shit like this, cheap freight, and I will show you someone who doesn't know their operational costs and makes poor business decisions. And I keep showing this shit to you every single time, whether it's the call-in show where I use real case studies from other people's content, whether I pull up articles and journals. It all leads down the same path, and I keep telling you this shit over and over and over and over and over again. Market conditions. Now, you can somewhat control how you maneuver with capacity and competition. That's going to be based on you. You can't control the market as far as how the economy is reacting at a specific time. You just can't. But mentally, you have to understand that it's going to fluctuate. And you have to make sure that your business is in the best position either way. When things are going extremely good, your profit margin should increase because you're competing, but you don't have to compete so aggressively. When things get tough, then you're going to have to compete more aggressively. But if you understand business, you're also still in a position because you understood what you invested in, that you're still in good standings there. It's just you may not be profiting. For instance, if you were in this industry years prior to the pandemic, what was normal to you prior to the pandemic, you were making money. But when the pandemic came, it offered an opportunity for you to make much more per mile, right? Because of the influx of volume. So, this happened to come a period where you were already in business and this pandemic happened and the rates are extremely high and you made more money. Now that things have corrected themselves, you're still in a good position. You're still making money. You're just not making as much money as you were making during that time period. But because you understand what you invested in, you understand that the market is going to fluctuate and you were prepared for unforeseen situations down the line. You didn't go out and do the dun-da-dun. You smart enough to know that certain things aren't going to be sustainable. You understood that something like that was not going to last forever, and you didn't go out and do the dun-da-dun and spend excess money. You made excess money. You stored excess money because you knew things would correct themselves and you would have to go back to not only competing, but competing even more aggressively than you were prior to that situation. You show me somebody that says shit like cheap freight, I'm going to show you somebody that don't know their costs and makes poor business decisions. You show me somebody that blames their situation on other people, I'm going to show you somebody that makes poor decisions and don't know their cost. And I'm going to continue to show you that shit. Financial planning, kind of parlaying off what we're talking about. You know what people messed up during the pandemic? Not just necessarily not understanding the cycle that they were in, but poor planning. You were in a time, right, that we'll probably never see again in this lifetime, but where you could make a shit ton of money. And in doing so, it presented you the opportunity to save a shit ton of money. But we know that when people make more money, they do what? They spend more. They make more, they spend more. They don't do what's in the best interest. So we got guys like this who, it looks from the looks of it, for me coming across this content, came into an infusion of capital during the pandemic and went out and bought, I think he said somewhere between 8 to 12 trucks, which led us here. Him pandering and begging for money on YouTube. Saying what he can't take and what he can't, you got to pay this, that, and the third. You show me somebody that complains and points the finger, I'll show you someone that makes poor business decisions and or doesn't know their operational cost. So many people came across money, right, during the pandemic and didn't understand business, thought it was going to last forever, went out and did the fool. And now look. Show me somebody that says dumb shit. I'm going to show you somebody that makes poor business decisions and or doesn't know they cost to operate. Over leveraging. That's what that guy did. Definitely borrowed money. Whether it was PPP, whether it was idle. You don't go from wherever he came from to 8 to 12 trucks like that, all new. Just like that. Unless you have just been infused with capital, right? Because most people who start a business, especially in trucking, that grassrooted, you see gradual growth. Even during one's takeoff phase, all right? Because we know there's different stages to growth. During step 4, which is the takeoff phase, even during that accelerated phase of takeoff, it's still gradual. So when you see someone go from to where it's just out of frame, they just got infused with capital. And we know where the capital came from during that time period. Put yourself in a tricky position when you acquire that much equipment that you'll only be able to sustain for a short period of time. As long as the government is giving out free money and volume is high, you're fine. But as soon as that water gets cut off, you're done. You show me somebody that complains about cheap freight and dumb shit, I'm going to show you somebody that makes poor business and or personal decisions or a combination of both, and someone who doesn't know their cost to operate. Hit the like button. There's no such thing. Find me the definition. Because I've been looking. I'm still looking for it. So, common poor practices in business, obviously, poor financial planning, over leveraging, and here's one, neglecting maintenance. You know why a lot of people neglect maintenance? Because they don't have the cash flow to take care of whatever it is that needs to be fixed. Why? Because of their poor business financial decision. You got a guy like the one we saw earlier and like the one we read in that case study from the trucker report that got these trucks, $200,000 trucks that they get chromed out and lowered and get the whole interior gutted and all this, that, and the third. Shit goes down. They can't even afford to get it down. Buddy ass is behind 2 notes and 2 house payments, I think he said. So if he can't even afford to make the notes on a brand new truck and make his house payment, what happens when the truck breaks down? He ain't got the money for it. Because he went out and did something that wasn't in the best interest of him, his business, or his family. Because he bought something that's going to cost him way up here, so far up here that it's out of the frame of the goddamn camera, in market conditions where he has to compete at rates that are somewhere down here. But he can't even take shit down here because guess what? His cost is up here. The smart guys, we playing down here. We playing with that shit. But he's up here in this beautiful truck. But that gap is so far because did something that wasn't in his best interest. Listen, the finance company ain't finna tell you, listen, this probably ain't the right market to be buying this truck. They're gonna say, hey, we got us one on the new. We got us one. That fucking guy, man, I just sold that. Yeah, that Peterbilt. Yeah, I just sold it. Fucking guy, bro. Man, this economy is fucked right now. I don't know how he's gonna make the notes. Yeah, I give him 3 months. He's done. Yeah. We'll end up just buying that truck back at auction from the finance company. We'll get another sucker. In 6 months. You think the finance company and the sales guy know? You think they don't know that you're making a poor decision? Of course they know you're making a poor decision, but it's not in their interest to tell you because it's in their interest to sell you the equipment. It's in their interest to sell you the equipment. They're not going to tell you that, man, you probably want to look at something in the next row way down at the end that's maybe $125,000, $130,000, $140,000 cheaper. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to take you for a ride. It's just the nature of the business. It's your job to make sure that you're making the best decisions for your business by educating yourself. And there's always a super trucker or a super box trucker that comes in and gets upset. And this is why you failing. Because you went out and you did something that was not in your best interest. I see you, super box trucker, super trucker that's mad. Keep being mad. I told you I was going to still be here. You thought I was lying. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be right here. Let me explain something to you. And this is something that I've been really, really hounding on lately that people really got to take heed to. You have to really understand what you're investing in. You have to, right? Because there's always going to be people that are more experienced than you that know how to win. And they're not going to show mercy on you, especially when things get critical. If you come across people that are experienced, those are the people that you need to take advice from. A lot of people within the past 3.5, 4 years that have come into this industry have taken advice from a lot of people who were just coming into the industry themselves. And it was like the blind leading the blind. You still have cases of the blind. Like I said, I saw something recently that a subscriber sent me that from a fucking content creator that said the reason they started a fucking box truck business is because there's no overhead. Listen, I don't give a fuck about these guys, bro. If you say something stupid, then I'm going to call you out. That shit don't even make sense. How can you start a box truck business with no overhead? So you mean to tell me, and this is in their shit. You mean to tell me you can start this business and run this business and it don't cost you a goddamn thing? The reason I started a box truck business is because there's no overhead. So you go buy this shit, you follow these people, and then you wonder why you failing. But then when I tell your ass the truth, right? Because I've been doing this shit since 2010, and I tell you how to win. Yeah, well, Mark, I don't want to go get a slightly or older truck because, and I tell you why it's important. And I tell you, getting a new truck, the position is going to put you in because of the economic landscape of the industry right now. But you want that nice, shiny new truck. But then I tell you, you're going to have to compete. And I give you the reasons why. Or I say, You might want to transition from that into this. Or I hold you accountable for going out buying the equipment without doing your proper research. There's a guy in the Discord. This motherfucker's in a cargo van running all up and down the country, and he's in fucking in the Midwest. Why are you running OTR in a cargo van and you live in the Midwest? The most you can put on the cargo van you got is 2 pallets. So you mean to tell me you running halfway across the country with 2 pallets when you live in the Midwest, when you can do local work and make way more money at a cheaper cost to operate and sleep in your bed every night instead of sleeping in the back of that van? Because you watch some fucking guy on YouTube that says, oh, I'm making $10,000 a week in a 16-foot box truck. If the shit sounds too good to be true, then it is. You mean to tell me you making what a goddamn semi-truck averages a week in a 16-foot box truck? How? How, Sway?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Do I gotta let R. Kelly tell you that shit? People will tell you the dumbest shit and you'll believe it. And then get out there and realize, damn, I got taken for a fool. You gotta listen. You gotta latch on to experience. You gotta find information and people to consume information from that have experience, that have seen this industry in different climates, that understand business, that understand how to compete, that understand how to win, that can tell you what's going to happen down the road. Yeah, I told you in 2022 what's going to happen. You didn't believe me. You believe me now? I'm telling you what's about to happen. A lot, and that shit going over a lot of people's heads. But keep doing dumb shit. Let me know. You got anything? Let me know if you got some assets that you want to get rid of for the low. Keep going out doing dumb shit. Listen, we are going to continue to give you the information that you need to win. But if you don't want to take the information, then continue to do the dumb shit. Continue to do the dumb shit, and you're going to be like this. Or like this. Or like this guy over here. You miss a few more and one more payment of this truck, they coming to get it. 7 more payments on that house is going into foreclosure. Buddy right here said all them trucks he had is gone. Where you think they went? Show me a super trucker or a super box trucker or a super cargo vanner that say dumb shit. I'm going to show you somebody that don't understand or don't know their costs or make poor business decisions or make poor personal decisions or a combination of both. Oh, I'm waiting for the economy to turn around. I'm waiting for diesel prices to go back down. Keep waiting. Let me ask you something, smart business people. Where we currently are in the economy, let's speak from a economic perspective, from home buying. You got people that make $200,000 a year and can't get approved for a home. A starter home. Why? Too expensive now, right? So how long do you think this is going to last before something's got to give, right? Now, a person with common sense can see the direction this thing is headed. But you're going to have guys like this, right? And I know some super truckers in here right now that are mad, right? You're going to have guys like this who don't forecast, right? They go out and make big decisions that ultimately could affect their business and their family without forecasting. The way we are right now, only two options that I can see this thing can go. So if I was in a position, let's say like this guy, would I go out and spend $250,000 on a truck right now? Probably not. It's bad now. But when I look at the grand scheme of things, people aren't selling their homes. People that make a good amount of money can't afford to buy a home because the current cost of a 3-bedroom is about what, $500,000 now. $600,000. So something's got to give in order for things to correct themselves. So with me being a smart guy and just, forecasting things and understanding that, it probably, if I was in a decision right now, I probably wouldn't go out and spend that much money on a truck. If I needed a truck, let's say right now, I would probably go out and get something that's a lot more, not a little more, a lot more economical. People get mad when I say shit like, oh, ain't no such thing as cheap freight and give that all that shit don't got nothing, that market shit. And then when I come back and throw it in their face, I don't hear nothing because all that has something to do. Because if you don't look at everything holistically, you're going to go out and you're going to make piss poor decisions. And when things occur, those people that told you this shit don't matter, this, then that, I want you to go find these people and ask them if they're going to pay your mortgage or they're going to pay your rent. They're going to help you pay your car note. I tell you these things because every single thing matters. I also tell you that math is here for a reason. Use the shit. Know your cost per mile. Economics exists for a reason. Learn that shit. It has a direct impact on what you do in trucking. So I challenge these fucking guys for this fucking debate, but they not going to take it because they know they can't beat me. I show you directly each and every fucking time how all this shit directly correlates with one another. How does the economy not affect what you got going on? Because think like that, you're going to go out and continue to do dumb shit like him, and you're going to find yourself in the fickle. Because when the shit hit the fan, it's going to be you that's going to have to deal with that shit. Competition is only going to increase. Things are only going to get tougher. I gave a hint on one of the live streams earlier this week. I think it was the one I did real late, on just some indicators on the way things are going to go. And I know some of y'all watch me, y'all like, I don't want to hear this shit because y'all go run to other people and say this shit. But then y'all watch me. I want you to do this dumb shit. Either you're going to take the information and do what's in the best interest, or keep doing dumb shit. Just whatever assets you got, I got cash on hand. When I see all the big dogs divesting, I already know where we finna go with. It's only one way we can go. So continue to go do the dumb shit. I'm gonna tell you something. Nah, I ain't gonna tell you. I see the indicators, man. I've been telling y'all the way this shit been going since I've been on YouTube, and everything I've said has went that way. That's why you watch. I told you peak season. I told you the fucking bubble was about to burst. I told you fucking Solana was finna run when it was $8-10 and it ran to 200. You didn't do that. I told you about Fetch. You didn't fucking do that. I told you 2 years ago, listen, this thing is going to turn around. I said, download every single app now. Even if you don't use it, go look at the content. It's there. I said, because there's going to come a time soon, within the next year or so, that you're going to need to depend on those, and you don't want to be waitlisted. Now everybody's trying to run for the apps because they need every single little thing to make money. They can't just rely on certain things. They got to have a multitude of different things. Mark, I can't get on this app, man. There's a wait list. I've been waiting on this damn thing. I told you 2 years ago to go get on it now. I said that in the content. Every single fucking thing I told you. How do you think I know this shit? I've been doing this shit since 2010. You think I haven't seen a downturn in the economy? I have a degree in business. I studied economics. I studied microeconomics. I studied macroeconomics. I know how to look at things from an individual perspective. I know how to look at things from a holistic perspective. Like this shit ain't that. I just fucking was born with this shit. So if I'm coming on here giving you this shit and I'm doing it for free, and you see I keep showing improving, stop saying dumb shit like cheap freight. Listen, if I was in your shoes right now, those words would never get uttered out my mouth because I would be too busy stepping on your neck. While you're complaining, sitting on your hands because you went out and you did something that wasn't in your best interest, like bought an expensive piece of equipment or went and bought a brand new car. So now you robbing from the sustainability of your business. I'm taking the shit that you can't take, and it's money that's steady compounding. Even if I'm taking a little bit less of the profit, but guess what? It's compounded while you sitting on your hands, not doing shit. And all that excess money, you already know where I'm putting it. Because we know where this thing about to go. And we need to make sure that we have plenty of cash on hand so we can buy all those assets that you acquired that you no longer can afford because you went out and you did things that wasn't in your best interest. Pennies on the dollar. The indicators are there. So keep listening to your favorite super truckers. Keep listening to your favorite box trucking guys, and especially them guys over there on that Facebook group shit. Man, listen. Listen, them guys on that them Facebook groups, man, y'all need to stay away from that shit, bro. Yeah, ain't shit in there but a bunch of complainers and whiners that follow trends that went out and did the shit that we talking about now. So be proactive coming into this business. Be proactive with educating yourself. All right. Please. All right. Take maybe 2 or 3 questions and then we out of here. Let's see. Somebody said a person who makes $40K a year can purchase a home. What type of home they purchasing? What type of home a person that making $40,000 is purchasing? Where they live at? Tell me where they live at. Inflation is here to stay. The truth is Jerome Powell, aka Make It Rain Powell, will not stop increasing the money supply. This will not allow inflation, in my opinion. They will inflate the currency away. If you're in Illinois, you can get a 10K. You can get 10K for a down payment. From where? I'm in Illinois. Tell me where in Chicago at $40,000 a year, I can buy a crib in Chicago making $40,000 a year. Tell me, where can I buy a house in the city of Chicago grossing $40,000 a year? The average 1 bedroom for rent is $2,000 a month. That's 24. That's more than half. So how can I buy a home in the city of Chicago only making $40,000? Like, what type of home is this? Where's this home at? Listen, let me explain something to you. Because I know a lot of people that don't live in Chicago, y'all like to listen about O Block and all this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something. Buying a crib in Inglewood right now is expensive. In some of your most deprived communities, it's becoming expensive. Why? Because of gentrification. You have what's called settlers. Like, what type of place on a $40,000 yearly salary can I buy here in Chicago? Because I'm in Chicago. Where? Tell me where. Tell me where. No, I just want you to tell me where I can buy a house in Chicago only making $40,000 a year. Link is pinned. There go the link right there. Tell me where I can buy a house here in Chicago only making $40,000. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. It can't be in the. Listen. What type of house is this? This house got to be made out of pallets. This house probably don't got no walls. It ain't got no copper in it. It ain't got no plumbing. It probably ain't got no roof. There go the link. Where can I buy a home for what did he say? I don't want to misquote him or her. Let's see. A person who makes $40K a year can purchase a home. Show me here in Illinois, in Chicago, where only making $40,000 will get you qualified for a home in Chicago. There go the link. Now, I know you watch the channel, so you accept the channel. There you go. Own a spot live. So I guess you are in real estate, right? Right. It's because when the guy was up here the other day who was in real estate, who bought the Lamborghini, who's struggling now because he also bought a box truck, and he came up here and put the super chat to talk to me so I can advise him what to do with the box truck, because he bought the box truck blind, following somebody that listened to one of these super trucker guys and sold him a dream and left him holding the bag. So I remember you did say you was in real estate. So there's the link. Come tell me where $40,000 a year salary will get me qualified to buy a home here in Chicago. Because I live in Chicago. I know what the average home goes for. In the worst neighborhoods, you looking at a couple $100,000. In the worst neighborhood, listen. And I don't want to go into too much detail. In a really bad neighborhood, recently, a bad neighborhood, I know somebody that just sold a 2-flat. And then when I say a bad neighborhood, I'm talking about a bad neighborhood for $400,000. So tell me how a person who only makes $40,000 a year can afford that type of mortgage. This isn't a bad neighborhood. Now go to link. A person making $40,000 can't even afford average rent. $40K will get you a HUD home. Where's this home at? What type of home is this, bro? Where's this home at, Rich Jew? What type of homes y'all talking about? Maybe I'm just out of touch, bro. What type of home is $40K getting me here? Where's this house at? Post a link to a picture where this house is at. I want to see what this motherfucker look like. Show me where, okay. Show me a type of home that I can get approved for $40K. Okay, show me. Come up here and show me. Educate me. I can educate you about trucking. Educate me about this shit. Show me how a person who only makes $40,000. Because I can tell you one thing. This motherfucker that I'm sitting in, there's no way they would have gave me this motherfucker if I was only making $40,000. So listen. Hit the link and educate me. Show me how a person only making $40K can get approved for a home. And show me the type of home. Listen. Hit the link and show me. I know that, listen, none of them, we're not talking about the bandos. We talking about real case studies. We talking about real people that are going out working every day. Hit the link and come educate me. You come to educate trucking information. This is my expertise. Come tell me where a person who only grosses $40,000 can get approved, and show me what $40,000 a year will get me approved for. Let's say I only made $40,000. Show me show me my options. In Chicago. We're not talking about middle America because you said in Illinois, and I live in Illinois, but I live in Chicago. So show me in Chicago. I'm asking you to educate me. Show me. You saying a bando. Show me what the bando look like. Show me what this bando look like. Does this bando have a roof? Does this bando have plumbing? Does this bando have copper? Are the floors there? If I walk in the front door, if I look up, will there be any floors separating the different floors? Or is this just a shell? I don't, $40,000? Okay, where do I work at? Tell me. Listen, So, Rich Jew on the spot. Tell me where a person who makes $40,000, show me the home. Because the hell that I went through making a shit ton of money 10 years ago, show me where a person who makes a fraction of that can go buy a home and afford it. Man, come on, bro. Y'all tweet. Y'all see, man. This is what I'm talking about, man. I'm listen. Y'all, that's what I'm saying. I dropped the link. I need to have the conversation. I want to be educated on this. As an example, a client bought in Forest Park, making $47,000, and their mortgage is 3 digits. Forest Park. You talking about out there? Then is that Park Forest or is that Forest Park out there by Chicago Heights? I always get them two mixed up. Is that Park Forest or Forest Park out there by Chicago Heights? Oh, that's right next to River Forest. So you mean to tell me somebody bought a home damn near Oak Park, River Forest, and Forest Park for $47,000 when you got multi? Hold on, let me see something. Forest Park. Oh, we're gonna do our due diligence. We're gonna do that because here's the thing: I'm not a real estate investor. I'm not a realtor. So I'm saying, come educate me. Next to Oak Park. So you telling me somebody bought a $47,000 home in Forest Park, next to Oak Park, next to River Forest, for $47,000. All right, let's look at that. Hold on, let's see something. I think you listen. You coming to me for trucking, so come on up here. If you typing in the chat, you can hit the link and drive. Listen, if you typing, you can hit the link and talk and don't have to look, and we can hear you and still drive at the same time. So I ain't trying to hear that. So Forest Park had a population of 14.2 thousand people with a median age income 42 years old and a median household income of 78,000. All right, so we know Forest Park is mostly white. Now let's look at the houses of Forest Park. Let me see. Let me go on Red Fan. Listen, they want $415 for this shit. Show me this $47,000 crib in Forest Park. I know it. I live here. This shit is frame and they want $400. This shit ain't brick. I'll huff and I'll pluff and I'll blow this house down. Listen, I will huff and I will puff and I will blow this house down. They want $415 for this frame crib. Shit is frame. It's no brick. Let's look at a brick crib. Here's a brick crib for $400,000. Here's another brick crib for $350,000. Here's a condo for $150,000. That's 850 square feet. Show me this house for $47,000 in Forest Park. Here's a crib right here for $729,000. Here go a condo in Forest Park for $369,000. Here go another condo for $389,000. Here go a house for $450,000. Here go a condo for a townhouse for $295,000. Here go a condo for $229,000. This shit on top of a goddamn store. Here go a cheap one for $125,000. I'm looking for 40, so I'm looking for something under 100. I'm not challenging you. I'm asking you to show me. I'm not challenging you. I don't sell property. That's why I'm asking you. You come here for trucking insight, Give me insight in your world. I'm not challenging you. I'm just asking you to educate me. Show me. I'm asking you to show me how a person who only makes $40,000 a year can buy a home. And what type of home, more so what type of home they can get approved for. See, this is what I understand. So now you want to show you want to show me on your channel. I didn't even know you had a channel. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got to go watch your channel instead of I'm asking you to come up. It's not a debate, right? I'm not gonna walk into something that I don't professionally do. So I'm asking you in this time of 2024 in Chicago, how can a person who only makes $40,000 a year get approved for a home? And not just necessarily that, what type of home will they get approved for? And why ain't everybody that's out here making $40,000 a year buying homes? All right, man. I'm asking you, show me the home. That's what I'm asking. Link is pinned in the chat. I want to know the home here in the city of Chicago where a person who's working at Walmart or Target could get approved for a home. I'm just asking because I'm curious. All right, Kendrick said, bro, I need some trucking help. Let me know when you're off this housing fantasy. I'm not on the housing fantasy. So I was cooking. Talking about the way things are about to go, and someone said, oh, people buy a house with $40,000, making $40,000. All right, well, I guess, man. All right, so let me get back to that. All right. Ashley says, I tried to post your content in a Facebook group. They pulled it off. I know, you know why they pulled it off. Because they want to sit and complain because they went and did things that weren't in their best interest. People that sit and complain, they're not going to make adjustments. They don't want to hear things that make sense. They want superficial numbers so that they can have they want unrealistic numbers, I should say, so it can appease their fantasy of what they think trucking really is. They want unrealistic numbers to help appease their fantasy of what they think trucking really is. Crown Christ said, where's the money though? Where's the money in trucking? Money is all around you. The money is all around you. It's all around you. Spoken. Good afternoon to all from Michigan Super Lake. I got to replay this. As always, thank you, Mark, for the time, wisdom, and your desire to share knowledge and help the masses. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you, too. Here's something that me and On the Spot agree on. Paying attention to indicators is important for any industry, especially just success. So if we agree on that, then we should be able to agree on where this thing is headed. I read that one about inflation. Let me see. Wait, hold on. Lou Jackson says he doesn't move any freight under $1.60 a mile. That's fine. That's his personal preference. Listen, people's personal preference, there's nothing wrong with people's personal preference. Personal preference is personal preference. Because there's someone who may be operating at a lower cost per mile than 160. Let's say their cost per mile is $1, for instance. And they may take something at $1.50 a mile. They're making 50 cents a mile, right? Lou Jackson doesn't choose to move his truck for less than $1.60. There's nothing wrong with that. It's personal preference. So a load that's paying $1.50 a mile, Lou Jackson is not going to take it. But a person whose cost per mile, we're not speaking on people who are running at a loss because they don't understand their cost. We're speaking from a perspective of someone who fully understands their cost. A person whose cost per mile says $1 can take that load at $1.50. Make 50 cents a mile. That's what his personal preference is. That's what his personal preference is. Personal preference. Doesn't necessarily mean it's cheap. Doesn't necessarily mean it's expensive. It's just his personal preference. But there's people out there who are operating at a CPM for less than that would be happy to move something for $1.50 or $1.55 or $1.40 or $1.45. That's why it's a market. Shout out to Velocious Logistics. Jay Stokes, what's going on? Maximize Trucking said, no, it's the pretty truck be broke down the most. Let me see. Yeah, so. All right. This was a great discussion. This is a great discussion, guys. This is why we do this. Mark, you dropped the link? Yeah, the link dropped. I dropped the link a minute ago. Why, somebody got some thoughts that they want to get? We got any detractors or grievances that, listen, we dropped the link over here. We dropped the link. We absolutely positively 100% dropped the link. Whether you got something you want to agree with, disagree with, we do not back down from anything. The link right there. Lou Jackson says, I just need more than 50 cents. I'm not trying to run 500 miles to make only $2.50 for a whole day of work. That's fine. That's his personal choice. That's his prerogative. There's nothing wrong with see, the thing is, what people gotta understand is everybody has choices and decisions to make for their livelihood and their business. And this is where I think people are missing the point when I say there's no such thing as cheap freight. And then I say, show me somebody who complains about cheap freight. I'll show you somebody who don't understand their cost per mile, don't understand the operational cost, or somebody who made poor decisions. It's a market. What he won't do, somebody else will, whether they'll do it at a profit or whether they'll do it at a loss because they don't understand what the operational cost is. But all these are contributing components on what a market dictates. So somewhere, if you're going to enter into this business, you're going to have to find that soft spot where you want to get in and compete. He might not want to profit $2.50. Next person will. $250 may not be good profit him. The next person, that's great. If they're running it at a profit, you can't say it's cheap freight because it's not. They're running it at a profit. But how's it cheap? They're happy with it and they made money from it. Now, to the individual who has the brand new truck with all the lights and the chrome and all that shit that they're paying $3,000-$4,000 a month for, plus the insurance to go along with it, they can't take it, right? But they want you to sit on your hands so that they can be able to afford this expensive truck. Nah. So I'm saying that to say this. You get in a truck, and especially OTR, it's a market. You're going to have different people from different mindsets with different competitive strategies. Do what's best for you and your business. Just make sure you make the right choices and don't complain when you don't go out and do the right thing and the tides turn and other people are driving past you, hitting the horn, chucking that deuce. Yeah, they shit might be 20 years older than yours. But that 50 cents a mile they making, it's profit. Lou Jackson said, being away from family, you can get a good paying job to make that. All right, but see, that's the thing. Most people, well, smart people, know what they're getting into before they get into it. You get into this business, especially OTR, you know you're going to be away from your family. But listen, you got to understand that understanding that, the landscape of the industry is going to change, all right, from an economical standpoint, let's say. The market, depending on where things are, going to dictate the level of competition and the rates. Your family is always going to be your family. But when you start a business, sometimes you have to adjust to meet the needs of the business. If you want stability, which you really can't get stability too much from a business and or a job, because you can go work for a job and they can fire your ass. But when you start a business, it's your job to meet the needs of the business. This is where I think there's a disconnect with a lot of young entrepreneurs that are coming in. They don't understand that you have to meet the needs of the business. There's plenty of times where I've had to do things that I necessarily didn't want to do or necessarily agree with. I was talking about in the Discord one day last week where I ended up having to have some of my trucks move phone books. I had to take a phone book contract. And phone books back then paid pennies on the dollar. But we lost an account, right? It wasn't due to us, right? But I had guys that I had to keep working. I didn't want to lose those guys. So I took the L, and it was more beneficial for me to keep those guys moving for a few weeks while I transitioned those assets into another account. It took me a few weeks to get it set up. So I took the L. I wasn't happy about it, but there was an opportunity that had presented itself simultaneously while those trucks ended up having to come away from a Pacific contract. And it took a while for to onboard with another contract. So I took the opportunity that presented itself so that I can keep the personnel. Did I want to do it? Of course not. Who wants to operate trucks at a loss? But it was beneficial for me to keep those guys that were already trained, that I already trusted, when I already know these trucks are going to be at another contract in a matter of a couple of weeks, instead of going out looking for new people that I got to gain trust with, that I got to train, that I got to spend money training, right? That I got to gain trust with. Nah. It's business. I understand the margins are small. That's why I knew it was imperative to operate a fleet. I know that meeting the needs of the business is just something that you're going to have to do from time to time. Everything ain't going to always go your way. But if the market shifts and I got to compete on a smaller profit margin and still make money, well, goddamn it, that's what I'm going to do. The next person can sit at home and sit on their hands and wait. I'm going to keep letting that money stack. Because that little money that's coming in, I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to take a small percentage of that. I'm going to put that over here. That's going to make money. I'm going to put that on top of whatever else that was. And guess what? This is what I signed up for. Now, that's my strategy. And it's always worked for me. You know why? Because I don't think I'm bigger than the business. See, when people think they bigger than the business is when they get in that mindset. You're not bigger than the business. How are you bigger than the business? Find me the 3 richest people. Who are the 3 richest people in the world? I already know who they are. Who are the 3 richest people in the world? Somebody put the 3 richest people in the world. Let's do an exercise real quick before we get out of here. Who are the 3 richest people in the world? Hit the like button. Listen, I've been on for, see, this shit, I've been on an hour and 30 minutes. We got 39 likes. This shit is crazy. I'm going to stop cooking up, bro. I'm going to stop, bro. This shit is ridiculous. I'm going to stop cooking up, man. Y'all don't know who the 3 richest people in the world are? Currently. Gates made his way back up to number 3. Did Gates make his way back up to number 3? I thought it was Bernard Arnault. All right. Well, all right, let's go with them. Let's go with them 3. Gates, Musk, and Bezos, right? So we got Microsoft. We're going to use, Musk has a few companies, but we're going to use Tesla, right? Somebody said Zuckerberg. Hold on, bro. Did some shit change that I don't know about? Did somebody's stock skyrocket this morning that I missed? Oh. You know what? Somebody said Zuckerberg. Elon, wait, damn. Who put Gates in there? Gates ain't even in the... It's Elon, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook then jumped up. Hold on. Let me see what Facebook stock is. What the hell? Arnault is number 3. I thought it was Arnault. But I see Zuckerberg took over the number 3 spot. Woo. Okay. So look. All right. So look. Elon. Oh, you troll. Okay. So Elon, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. All right. So we know Elon owns Tesla. Right. We know Bezos owns Amazon, or he's the largest share, not own. All right. Musk is the largest shareholder in Tesla. You got Bezos, Amazon, and you got Zuckerberg, Facebook, or now Meta. Now, let's look up the market cap for each company. Let's look up the market cap for each company. Let's look up the market cap for Tesla. Let's just look up the market cap for Tesla. All right. So Elon Musk is worth $222 billion. The market cap for Tesla is $630 billion. Which makes Tesla bigger than Elon. Jeff Bezos is worth $185 billion. Let's look at the market cap for Amazon. $1.79 trillion with a T. $1.79 trillion, which makes Amazon $1 trillion richer than a person with the largest shares, which is Jeff Bezos, which makes Amazon bigger than Jeff Bezos. Let's look at Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta is worth Mark Zuckerberg is worth $178 billion. Let's look at Facebook's market cap. $1.3 trillion. $1.3 trillion. Which makes Meta almost $1 trillion richer than its largest stakeholder, which makes it bigger than the largest founder. Now, let's take it back to what I said a few minutes ago. As a business owner, it's your job to meet the needs of the business. Let's give us some examples here. Let's use Jeff Bezos, since a lot of people here directly or indirectly have something to do with Amazon, one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Bezos worth $185 billion. Amazon worth $1.79 trillion. Let's look at Relay. The moment Amazon realized, yo, these independent contractor guys that we got, hey man, these guys are not doing what's in the best interest of Amazon. We need to start, somebody call RJ Scaringe, somebody call buddy over there that owns Lion, somebody call the CEO of Freightliner, somebody call the CEO of Penske and Ryder. We're going to get us some lease or some rentals. Listen, we need to just order some trucks. All right. Order some trucks. Let's get Element on the phone. We need to fleet manage them. Whoever is in the head of the DSP department, let's try to incorporate that, because these guys out here on this Relay load board, they're not doing, no, we're not saying we're going to get rid of it, but you know what? They're not doing what's in the best interest of Amazon. So we have to make some changes. We're going to invest money and we're going to buy our own trucks. We're going to have DSP run some of them. We're going to hire some company drivers within the company. We're going to start taking loads off the load board, and we're going to start keeping some of this shit in house. You know why he did that? Because it's in the best interest of Amazon. Anytime they see something or a company sees something that's detrimental, that's going to end up costing them money or losing money one way or the other, they're going to make changes. Because they're doing it in the best interest of the business. Why? Because Jeff Bezos, not only do he want to keep that $185 billion, he wanted to continue to go up. So he got to make guys like me happy. What you mean, guys like you? Oh yeah, I'm an investor. An investor. Shareholder. Not only does he want to make more money, he needs to keep the shareholders happy. By meeting the needs of the business, it's going to increase his net worth. So whatever that exists, whatever that consists of, then so be it. It's not bigger than the company. Why do people get off thinking that they bigger than the company? That's what people's problem is. You think you bigger than your business. You're not bigger than your business. What I be telling people, the business don't give a fuck about the shit that you got going on in your personal life. All the business is concerned about is making money. Amazon, as a company, its main concern is profit and making that margin continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Whatever we got to do, listen, if we got to buy our own truck so that we can continue to meet the needs of the business, because these guys aren't going out doing what's in the best interest, because we already created something. We got a 2-day, we got a next day, and now we got a same day. These guys are complaining about this. They're leaving shit outside the post office. They abandoning routes. They stealing freight, this, then the third. Nah, fuck all that shit. Listen, we need to keep these shareholders happy. We need to make sure that we continue to do the best thing, what's in the best interest of the company, so we can continue to charge the subscription fee, because this is where we make our money at. Jeff Bezos and every single person that's a millionaire, that's up there in the hierarchy of Amazon, is going to continuously meet the needs of the business. So whatever needs to be changed, whatever needs to be corrected, whoever needs to get fired, whoever needs to get hired, then so be it. Not bigger than the business dictates. You gotta meet the needs of the business. You're meeting the needs of the business. The business ain't meeting the needs of you. Listen, so if I'm in this business and the competition gets fierce, then I gotta meet the needs of the business. Not bigger than the business. Why do these you young entrepreneurs, where y'all learn this shit from? Let's look at number 4, Bernard Arnault. Bernard Arnault is worth $177 billion. For those that don't know who Bernard Arnault is, he's the head of LVMH, right? Let's see what LVMH Group's market cap is. LVMH's market cap is $352 billion. LVMH owns Louis Vuitton, they own Moet, they own Hennessy, they own a bunch of brands. Let's focus on Louis Vuitton. They own Dior. Some of the stuff that y'all take y'all box truck money and spend it on, you continue to make Bernard Arnault and LVMH Group richer, right? LVMH is bigger than the largest shareholder, which is Bernard Arnault. Guess what? Bernard Arnault sees that a lot of fools continue to buy shit. People that do shit, not everybody, but a lot of people in culture go out and spend money that they can't afford on Dior, on Louis. I'm guilty. I can afford it, but I spend money on it. But there's a bunch of people that can't afford it to keep up with the Joneses, right? What did Bernard Arnault do? He said, you know what? We're over here. We don't really understand this culture thing, but let's hire this guy, Virgil, who understands the culture, and let's make him the head of design for men. And, you know, he understands the culture, because we see a pattern. We see a lot of dollars coming from the urban community. There's a lot of money in this urban community. How do these guys have so much money to buy, but their income status is so low, but they spend so much money on Dior and LVMH. But so, you know, we need to hire somebody who's in that culture, who knows how to design and has an eye for, you know, the shit that culture wears. So they hire Virgil. And Virgil dies. Then they replace him with another black guy, Pharrell. Why? Meeting the needs of the business. They see a trend. They're capitalizing on the trend. They're reading the room. They see where the dollars are coming from. So they're going to hire somebody with influence in that culture already, that has an eye, that's already fashionable, that's ahead of the trend, that's going to create things that culture that for the life of us we don't understand, because we're looking at the economic status of the people that buy our stuff, and just, how are they affording it? But nonetheless, they're buying it anyway. They're finding the money from somewhere. So we're going to cater to that. That's meeting the needs of the business. Whether he's racist or not racist, lives over there or not over in America, wherever the case may be, he's making the best decision for the LVMH group. He's not bigger. He's not bigger than the company. He's meeting the needs of the business, man. Remember when Tommy Hilfiger, some of y'all probably don't even remember, when Tommy Hilfiger said he didn't make his clothes for black people, whatever the quote he said, where's Tommy Hilfiger at today? At Ross, at Marshalls, at TJ Maxx, Burlington Coat Factory. Remember when he said that shit? Oh, I'll make my shit for black people, or whatever the quote was. Where is he at today? He didn't meet the needs of the business. You saw black people. Snoop Dogg came on Saturday Night Live with that cold, man. That shit was a cold ass time. Some of y'all probably remember Snoop Dogg back in the 90s. He came on Saturday Night Live. He had on that Tommy Hilfiger rugby. That motherfucker was so cold. It said Tommy real big in the front and Hilfiger in the back. It had the red with the white stripes going vertical with the blue under. Came up there and did Murder Was the Case. When he came on Saturday Night Live, everybody was looking for that rugby. Me included. I was begging my OG to get that rugby for me. Couldn't never find it, right? But Tommy Hilfiger had its own huge section, all right? We had a store here called Marshall Fields, but it was purchased later by Macy's. But, you know, department stores like Marshall Fields, Macy's, Carson Perry Scott had this huge Tommy Hilfiger section, right? Now, where's Tommy Hilfiger? Because he made that statement, because he refused to meet the needs of the business and cater to the urban community and kind of denounced it, it ultimately affected his business. He made a statement, a guy who was the head of a company, a very profitable company at that time, who urban America accepted and embraced, made a very poor choice of, had a poor choice of words, poor decision. He spoke from a personal perspective. He did and said what he felt from a personal perspective instead of meeting the needs of the business. And now look, he's still making money, but you're at the outlet store. Man, LVMH is still running up a bag. You see what Gucci did after so many years? You see what Gucci did? See, man, y'all don't know business, man. I look at all aspects, different industries. You see what Gucci did, right? Dapper Dan was fucking buying fabric and shit and cutting shit up and making his own designs for years. After so many years, Gucci said, man, they went and cuffed him like this. They didn't get mad at him. They cuffed him. Man, come on here, man. We're going to give you your own line. Why? Culture. Man, black people have been buying Gucci for years. We better off working with him than against him. Yeah, he's taking our shit and he's cutting up purses, doing this, that, and the third, making his own designs. But the culture loves this guy. Listen, we can build a whole line around this guy, right? He is the culture. Let's incorporate him. He's got over there in Italy. We got this nigga from Harlem. They did what was in the best interest of the business. They didn't follow the Tommy Hilfiger route. And then what? That opportunity with Gucci opened up the door for other opportunities for Dapper Dan because now he has his own line with the Gap. The Gap said, man, Coach, you gave this nigga an opportunity. Well, God damn it. Gap came and cuffed him. Now, instead of the classic hoodie sweaters that you see with the Gap arch, it says DAP, D-A-P. They did, listen, they met the needs of the business. They see who buys the shit. They understand everything about their business, every single aspect, even down to where each and every fucking dollar comes from. They didn't do what Tommy Hilfiger did. They didn't denounce the culture. What originally who they created the clothes for, the mass majority of people that's buying it is the culture, the urban communities. They didn't take the Tommy Hilfiger route. They accepted it. Why? Man, this who buying it, all right, we got to meet the needs of the business. Why y'all ain't talking about, I'm not going to do this? You meet the needs of the business. The business dictates. You talking about guys that's making billions of dollars, and then there's people here that's making thousands, telling what they is and what they not gonna do. And then you want to couple this generational wealth. See, these guys got generational wealth. You know why? Because they follow the formula. See how somebody can say something in the chat and then I can come up with case studies on the fly. Why? Because I understand business. I study business. I read. I invest into companies so I understand what I'm investing in. I've always met the needs of the business, even when things I felt like, man, God damn, I don't want to do this, but I don't have any choice. The business is calling for this shit. We got to do this shit. Not bigger than the business. Y'all got to get out that mind frame, bro. Well, is and ain't going to do. Man, you can do what you want to do. It's your personal choice. But at the end of the day, and you know, the first place where I heard we have to meet the needs of the business, I learned that when I was working at the Gap, right? Back in, had to be like 98, 99 because we was in the old building. And one of my managers was Jennifer. I remember I used to work in the stock room, but like sometimes when, we get busy on the floor. This is back when people were still going into, this is before e-commerce and all this shit. So we would have days where, the flagship store at that time was on the corner of Michigan and Huron. It was 3 levels. Like that store be so jam-packed, all 3 levels, you couldn't move. So sometimes they have to pull stock personnel out to the floor to help ring on the cash registers so that some of the sales associates could help customers, right? It was kind of counterproductive to have sales associates ring. You needed sales associates on the floor to kind of like, help with sizes and things like that. So they pull stock personnel to ring on the register. And I just didn't like ringing on the register, right? I'd rather be in the stock room, right? So, Jennifer knew that I really didn't like coming out on the floor. And she was like, Mark, I know you don't like coming out the floor, but we need to meet the needs of the business right now. And the needs of the business, right? The priority wasn't in the stock room. We got a packed store. We need to make sales, right? Because we're in competition with other stores. Obviously, the managers of stores get bonuses when they hit certain goals and certain milestones. We have customers. When you're in retail, the customers are the highest priority. The priority is not in the back room, backstocking and processing and putting sensors on. So listen, we need to pull some of these sales associates off the registers. We need them to assist customers. And you guys that are working in the stock room who don't directly deal with customers and particularly know where certain things are and just know how to deal with customers, we're going to put you on the register where we already got them hook, line, and sinker, and we just need you to just ring them out, give them their receipt, and kick them on out the door. I need you to meet the needs of the business right now, Mark. I need you out the back. I need you on the register. I know you don't like doing it, but we need to meet the needs of the business right now. Fuck what you talking about, Mark. Nigga, bring your ass out here and ring. I didn't like it because I would have to smile and, hey, how you doing? All right. Oh, okay, just this. All right, just these 3 items. All right, how was you find everything okay? Taking sensors off and shit, having to fold the sweater all nice and put the little paper on it and fold. I didn't like doing that shit. I'm back. I'm putting sensors on, backstop. I'm in the back. Putting this shit in the bag all nice and neat. All right, have a nice day. Next. Who's next? I didn't like doing that shit. But Jennifer always say, Mark, you got to meet the needs of the business. Business dictated that I need to be on the floor. Wasn't bigger than the business. Whether it's I'm an employee for a business or it's my business, I'm an employee for the business. I have to meet the needs of the business. So if I'm running at a profit, but because the competition is a little bit more fierce, the economy is just in shambles, and people are competing more aggressively, you start to see them fangs coming out. Man, I got this much room normally for profit, but if I got to shrink my profit margin down to here so that I compete harder, so that I can keep making it, so I can continue to pour that money in and compounding that shit, well, goddamn it, so be it. I'm meeting the needs of the business. Who am I to be like, I ain't doing this shit? Man, hey, it's still a profit. Get out here, let's get it. Let them sit by. Yeah, some days I may make $500 profit. This day I may make $300 profit. That day I may make $1,000 profit. Man, it's all going in the kitty. As long as I'm making profit. I don't guys, I don't know, bro. Like, but man, that's neither here nor there, man. All right, man. Hopefully, you learned something from today. What time is it? It's 3:30. All right, I think that's it, yeah. Fact of the matter is, I'm sure many of these design brands have the same ideology. Yeah, they do, and I just proved it. Like listen, successful business people are gonna meet the needs of the business. Always. So, on that note, you know what? Y'all take it, y'all leave it, whatever it is. But like I always say, make sure you do what's in your best interest. And if you don't want to do what's in your best interest, continue to do dumb shit. It's a bunch of M's over here. We're in the members only. We're in the Discord. We're on here. We're doing things the right way, and we're stockpiling so that when you do continue to do these things, just come and holler at us. We might be able to help you out. All right, but we got cash on hand. All right, peace.